Imagine your self-worth is a house of cards. It is a delicate, intricate, and impossibly fragile structure. And you spend your entire life trying to keep it perfectly balanced, holding your breath, terrified of the slightest breeze. Then, you make a small, human mistake. You send an email with a typo. You say the wrong thing in a conversation. You forget a minor task on your to-do list. And this is not a gentle breeze. To your system, it is a hurricane. The entire house of cards doesn't just wobble. It collapses. And you are left, sitting in the rubble, with a profound, gut-wrenching, and catastrophic feeling. The feeling that this is the end of the world. If you know this feeling, this end-of-the-world reaction to a small, everyday mistake, you also know the deep layer of shame that comes right after it. You scold yourself. Why am I like this? Why am I overreacting? It was just a small thing. You feel broken, dramatic, and completely out of control. Today, we are going to talk about that feeling. And we are going to understand that your reaction is not an overreaction. It is a trauma reaction. You are not reacting to the small mistake you just made. You are reacting to the catastrophic meaning that your brain learned to attach to mistakes a long, long time ago. Let's reframe this. For you, a mistake is not just a mistake. It is a verdict. It is a final judgment, delivered by a harsh, internal court, on your worth as a person. And this courtroom was built in your childhood. This is where you learned the rules of evidence. For many, you grew up in a home that was highly critical. In this environment, a mistake was never just a mistake. A spilled glass of milk was not an accident. It was evidence that you were careless. A B on a report card was not a good grade. It was evidence that you were not trying hard enough. A moment of childish messiness was evidence that you were lazy. You learned that every small flaw would be collected, cataloged, and used as evidence in a larger court case designed to prove a single, devastating point: that you were not good enough. So now, as an adult, when you make a small mistake, your nervous system does not see a typo. It sees the final piece of evidence that will prove, once and for all, that the verdict is true. It is the moment the gavel comes down, and the voice in your head, the ghost of that critical parent, says, "Guilty." For others, this was learned in a home where mistakes were dangerous. Perhaps a small mistake, like breaking a dish, would trigger a parent's explosive rage. Or perhaps it would be met with the cold, terrifying silence of emotional withdrawal. You learned a powerful and life-shaping equation. Mistakes lead to punishment. Mistakes lead to pain. Mistakes lead to the loss of love. For a child, the loss of love is a survival threat. So now, when you make a mistake at work, you are not just worried about your boss's feedback. You are, on a deep, primal level, terrified of that same catastrophic consequence. Your body is re-experiencing the terror of a small child who has just made a dangerous error. The end-of-the-world feeling is the echo of a time when a small mistake really did feel like the end of your world. And for some, it was learned by the parentified child. You had to be the responsible one, the little adult. You were holding so much together. In that role, a mistake felt like a catastrophic failure of your duty. If you forgot to do something, if you weren't perfect, there were real consequences for the stability of your family. So you learned that you could not afford to be human. You could not afford to be flawed. Your perfection was your family's shield. And a mistake felt like you had just let everyone down in the most profound way. So you arrive in adulthood with this deep, subconscious programming. And when a mistake happens, your internal world turns into a courtroom. First, your inner critic, the prosecutor, begins its tirade. It doesn't just say, "You made a mistake." It says, "You are a mistake. You are a failure. You are stupid. You are worthless." It takes the single event and turns it into a global verdict about your entire identity. Then, your mind engages in black and white thinking. There is no room for nuance. The typo means the entire report is ruined. The awkward comment means the entire friendship is over. The small mistake means you will definitely be fired. There is no, "It was a small error, but the rest was good." There is only total, catastrophic failure. And all of this leads to a deep and debilitating shame spiral. The feeling of the mistake expands, like a drop of black ink in water, until it contaminates your entire sense of self. You feel exposed, flawed, and unworthy of being seen. And you are left with only one desperate desire: to hide. So how do we begin to step out of the courtroom? How do we learn to be a compassionate defense attorney for ourselves, instead of a cruel prosecutor? The journey is not about never making mistakes again. That is impossible. The journey is about changing your relationship with your own imperfection. The first step is to name the reaction. The next time you make a small mistake, and you feel that familiar end of the world plummet in your stomach, pause and name what is happening. This is not a catastrophe. This is a trauma response. This is the old fear. This is my nervous system reacting as if I am that small child again. This simple act of naming it creates a space between you and the reaction. It reminds your adult brain that you are no longer in that old, dangerous house. The second step is to consciously separate the do from the be. This is a powerful mental exercise. You say to yourself, "I did something wrong. That does not mean I am wrong. I made a mistake. That does not mean I am a mistake. My action was flawed. That does not mean my entire being is flawed." You are drawing a hard, clear line between your behavior and your identity. You are protecting your core sense of self-worth from the shrapnel of a single error. The third step is to become the gentle parent to yourself. Imagine that small child inside of you who is terrified they are in terrible trouble. And you, the wise and compassionate adult you are today, can now speak to them directly. You can offer them the words they never, ever heard. "It's okay. It was just a small mistake. You are not in trouble. You are safe. I am not angry with you. You are still good. You are still loved." You are giving your own inner child the profound, healing experience of unconditional acceptance. And finally, you must practice, in small ways, the art of being good enough. Perfectionism is the engine of this cycle. So you must, intentionally, practice being imperfect. Send an email that is 95% good, instead of spending another hour on it. Allow a small flaw to exist in your work. Try a new hobby that you are terrible at, and allow yourself to be a beginner. You are gathering new, powerful data for your brain. You are proving to your nervous system, in small, manageable doses, that imperfection does not lead to catastrophe. That the world does not end when you are human. That end-of-the-world feeling is not a sign that you are dramatic. It is the measure of how deeply you were once hurt for simply being human. The journey of healing is the journey of learning to be your own safe harbor. To be the one who can look at your own mistakes, not with the eyes of a cruel judge, but with the gentle, loving, and forgiving eyes of a compassionate friend. You are not a house of cards. You are a resilient, beautiful, and gloriously imperfect human being. And you are allowed to make mistakes. If this video was helpful for you, please show your support by clicking the like button. To continue this journey of healing, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And if you know someone who is always so hard on themselves, please share this video. It might be the moment of self-compassion they need to start rebuilding. Thank you for watching. It is safe to be imperfect.